Yeah, so we want to do a deep dive each month to give you a little bit more training than if we just tried to dump all this stuff to you in an information dump during a bigger training. So the first one, because it's September and because World Polio Day is October 24th, we thought it'd be good to talk about how to effectively promote World Polio Day. So with us today is one of our interim Zone 29 and Polio Now coordinators, Bob McLean, but the other one in Zone 29, Bob Taylor, is also with us, but Bob will give us a little bit of a talk about why our efforts in polio eradication are still important and give a brief polio update. Then Stephen will go through the World Polio Day toolkit that has been put together, and Scott will show a little bit of how to register your club's participation in World Polio Day, and we'll finish up with a little bit of a couple tips and tricks on how to easily promote and implement events and what you and your districts or clubs should do to engage your clubs or members. So with that, Bob, it's up to you. You should be able to share your screen, and away we go.
There we go. If I move this out of the way. Uh-oh. How's that?
Perfect.
So first, I want to thank Kyle for the opportunity to participate. This is really wonderful to see the type of collaboration that we have between foundation, membership, and public image. In the past, I don't know that we've had as much communication with each other, but if this is the new norm, I love it because there's so much that is intertwined between all three. So thank you, Kyle, so much for the opportunity. Our team is, as Kyle mentioned, Tim Murphy is the Zone 29 coordinator. He's on medical leave right now. And Bob Taylor and I are the interim coordinators for Zone 29. Ron Walls is the coordinator for Zone 25B. So Kyle asked two things, one to give an update, but also then what is the why? And I agree wholeheartedly with Kyle, start with why. So much like Simon Simic probably borrowed that from Kyle, but starting with the why. Why did Rotary start this worldwide effort? One, it needed to be done across the world to save lives. Rotary proved that it was achievable. It's a great investment for a healthier world, and it created the infrastructure to eliminate any diseases. And very important, why is it still Rotary's #1 priority? And as Bob Taylor has shared in his presentations, it's worth repeating. This is Rotary's #1 priority. This is Suzi Howe, our Rotary International Director. Bob Taylor brought an iron lung to the Houston Zone Institute. And if you look at that device, just imagine what it must have been like to spend your life inside that chamber. Just a miserable way to live. So, this is a reason why this is still #1. Another important thing to recognize, though, is that until the last case is gone, polio is just a plane ride away. Until we are truly done with eradicating polio from the world, we are at risk the entire time, and just a plane ride away. So, why the Region 36 Public Image Team is so important. The presentations you've given already, frankly, are so impressive. I thought Dr. Baxter's story was so compelling, very heart-moving, and very informative. And Melissa, I love your organization. That's a great template for people to be able to follow. Public image is really what helps us get the word out. This is a direct quote from Suzi Howe again. Our job is to put a human face behind what we're doing. And really that's public image's job. And it is vitally important. Thinking back again to Dr. Baxter's sharing, if we had only read about it, if it was just, a little journal, I don't think any of us would have been nearly as moved as with the story that he told. And so really your job is to help us put the human face on what we're doing as Rotarians to help eradicate polio from the world. Communication that's consistent, relevant, appropriately frequent. I'm guessing that Melissa has got that in her template. But also, as you were doing today, sharing testimonials and speakers. That's really important for us to be able to share the stories across the board. We've got great partners. In addition to Rotary, we've got the World Health Organization, UNICEF, CDC, Gavi the Vaccine Alliance, and the Gates Foundation, all partnering together on the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. So an update. You've got the why. Here's the what. 2 cases of polio since January of 2021. We are literally down to 2 cases. Nothing in the wild polio has been reported up to this point. Now we've gone 4+ years with wild polio being eradicated from everywhere but those 2 countries. So we are definitely on the move. And as one of our cohorts has said, you know, it's like 4th down in inches. We are getting so close to making this a reality. So these numbers are current as of September 22nd, when Bob and I had a meeting with the entire globe of End Polio Now coordinators. So this information is very current. One of the challenges that we have is the vaccine-derived polio cases. Back in August, there were 104 reported, and this is an issue. And so they have changed the vaccine that we're using so that it is not as, it can't be passed along through things like human waste, which is the primary way that the vaccine-derived polio has been acquired. Every year, there are millions of children born and millions of children that need to be vaccinated, not just in the United States, but literally around the world. And that's part of the effort that we have ongoing. Even though we say we're down to the last 2 cases, we are still millions of children away from being polio-free until polio is eradicated from the world. So as a little bit of history, we've had 3 billion children that have received vaccines. 19 million people are walking each year that would have otherwise been paralyzed because of the work that we've done. Polio Plus has helped us with other vaccines that are for preventable diseases like measles. And in particular, as we've all kind of endured the COVID experience, our infrastructure and resources were actually used to help address COVID in the developing countries. And so our capacity to help beyond polio is there. Our new game plan, eradicating polio with 2 specific goals: permanently interrupt the transmission of all polio virus in Afghanistan and Pakistan. That means wild polio and vaccine-derived polio. Number 2, stop the transmission of the vaccine-derived polio everywhere, throughout the entire world. So those are our 2 key goals. Just 2 goals, huge effort that's involved. Major elements of the strategy: reestablish polio eradication as a public health emergency. I think for quite a while, polio, because we were doing so well and doing so much good, it sort of slipped in terms of attention. We need to make it a top priority for all governments and to hold them accountable for the progress that's being made. Improving community engagement. Again, public image, how important you all are in helping us raise the awareness, educate people about what polio is and how they can help make sure that this is eradicated from the entire world. And then balancing the capacity and decision-making. It's been interesting being part of the End Polio Now coordinating group, just realizing how many decisions are involved right down to the village level on how these vaccines get there. A timeline to achieve goal 1 and 2. Again, this fits right in Melissa's game plan. We have wider use of the novel oral polio vaccine for the type 2. That's to help eliminate any vaccine-derived polio. By 2023, we want to have accomplished the interruption of transmission of all wild polio, and that time frame is really important. And you'll see repeatedly, and hopefully this will become part of the brand that you'll help promote, is that by 2026, we want to be able to certify the world as polio-free. To get there, we have to be, totally free of any new cases of wild polio, and then the clock starts for 3 years. You need 3 years where you haven't had any transmission of wild polio in order to certify an area being polio-free. So 2026 counts on us being successful by 2023. Achieving the eradication, simple, not easy. Immunizing 400 million children a year, funding hundreds of thousands of polio workers. It's not just Rotary immunization days that makes this work. There are a lot of people on the ground in villages that are absolutely necessary to help us distribute the vaccines. And then intensifying the surveillance. This is very important in order to identify where vaccine-derived polio is located and then address it rapidly. There's a cost involved. Between now and 2026, We're looking at $5.2 billion to make this happen. Surveillance is going to be huge. If we identify outbreaks, being able to respond and respond quickly is critical. Integrated health services, vaccine supply. I mean, just imagine, we have it so easy to get a vaccine. Imagine going into the foothills of Afghanistan to try and get a vaccine. These are really challenging things. And then staffing, being able to get the teams of people to be able to do this. And I do want to add one comment. We heard on Tuesday from Mike McGovern that as challenged as we are to understand how the Taliban is going to operate within Afghanistan, the one thing Mike said is they're clearly committed to vaccines. They don't want their children to be struck with polio any more than we do. And so there may be a lot of things that really make us nervous about the Taliban. At least when it comes to vaccines, at the moment, it seems like they are on board with that. So in terms of dollars, here's how it breaks out. 19% of our vaccines, our dollars go to the vaccines, 3% to experts, only 1% to research. Getting the vaccines to the children, again, monumental task at 40%. Detecting, the surveillance part, 14%. But I thought it was really interesting, raising awareness. A quarter of our budget goes to raising awareness. And again, that's where you all come in. The importance of communication, the importance of you helping Rotarians understand, why this is important and what they can do to have an impact. So what we learned about polio giving in 2020-21, we had a fair percentage, almost 70% of districts across the world contributing their DDF. We had 42% of districts contributing 20% of their DDF to Polio Plus. That wasn't bad. Over half of the clubs around the world contributed something to polio. Of that, 5,000 clubs contributed $1,500 or more. One number that really alarmed me, frankly, is only 1 out of 5 Rotarians contribute to Polio Plus. That's 20% of all Rotarians. And that's where, again, as we message with the public image group, messaging not just to district leadership or even to club leadership, but being able to get that message all the way down to individual Rotarians. That makes a huge difference. And that's where we hope your messaging can help us. So there are primary goals that we have laid out. Certainly every district and club having a polio chair and goals. One of the goals would be, for example, DDF of 20.26% by World Polio Day. We'd love to see more districts giving their funds on the front end. In recent years, the vast majority of district designation comes towards the end of the year. And we'd like to see that as a priority rather than the tail end. Increasing the number of district clubs and Rotarians giving by 10%. Secure a major donor. That's a huge task. Again, social media, your public image group, vitally important to education, promotion, and raising awareness. Then community events. You'll be talking more about World Polio Day, October 21st, 4th. Huge day for Rotary. But the work that needs to be done between now and October 24th is vitally important. The creative ideas for raising awareness and raising funds. And then also World Immunization Week in April of 2022. Then, anything that your districts might have in mind, fun projects, interesting projects. Some are creating a Polio Plus Society. And there are a host of other things that districts can choose to do. One of the things that we are trying to remind people is that when you give dollars to polio, it's matched. So let's say that Scott has given $100 to polio. The Gates Foundation will match that $200. So there's a 2-to-1 match. And then on the DDF, the district designated funds, there's a 50 cents on the dollar match by the World Fund, the Rotary World Fund, and then Gates matches that part. So there's really interesting ways to leverage our dollars to make an impact. For club goals, Rotary suggests, $1,500. Another thing to consider is just every member giving at least $20.26. Again, 2026 is our big benchmark, and just getting people to think about that and understand we're just 5 years away, but we need everyone on board and engaged. Then the district goal for 20% DDF matched 50 cents on the dollar. Again, just to remind people, bump it up a little bit, 20.26% of DDF. So just to wrap up, imagine being unable to stop your child from being a victim. I don't think any of us could imagine what that would be like and yet that's what people face every day across the world. So right now, again, we're down to the last 2 cases so far, but there's so much work that needs to be done to finish the job. So with that, I just say thank you for all you're doing. Love the organization that you have. I think it's great that you're doing monthly meetings. That's outstanding. And helping us get our message across is going to be vitally important. So thank you very much. Kyle, it's yours.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that that update, and it goes to keep showing where we're at and how things are going. With that, World Polio Day is right around the corner, and so I'd like to ask Stephen to just show everybody real quickly where they can get some of the materials for the World Polio Day toolkit. So, Stephen,
sounds good. Perfect. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So we have a wonderful, wonderful resource.
So one of the places you can go is, this is going well, is endpolio.org, which
I've got,
of course now.
You want me to share it?
Please, Scott. Yes, because it's not showing up. It's not pulling up on mine now either. So.
All right, endpolio.org.
Yep.
Can you see that?
I can.
Okay.
So this is the main page. If you lost it there, Scott.
I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong
Okay.
thing.
We're doing
Tried to
well.
grab something else.
Perfect. So if you scroll down, so this is the End Polio website that Rotary has put together, and there's a lot of great information here. But if you scroll down, World Polio Day, right here, which go down a little bit further. Oh, yep. Click there on that World Polio Day, which then brings up this page, which download the World Polio Toolkit, has all sorts of different materials in there. So why don't you go ahead and download that real quick, Scott? It's going to open as a zip file for people.
I think I'm back, at least verbally, so I can take over if you'd like, Kyle.
Perfect. Have at it.
All right. So as Scott downloads that, thank you, Scott. If you wouldn't mind showing some of these items that are in here, there are a number of different resources available within this toolkit. Everything from PowerPoint to pre-made graphics, sample press releases, sample social media messages, and some PDFs on how to take action, and a little bit of a refresh on why we do World Polio Day and how individuals within your district can engage in it, and your club members can engage in it as well. So 2 of the first items are the 2 PDFs. Oh, by the way, on the brand center, there's also 3 videos for polio as well, at least 3 videos. So if you wanted to put together some video messaging around your World Polio Day and you were looking for a video, you can download those from the brand center. So the 2 PDFs, the Take Action, Eradicate a Disease Forever, are really helpful to give a brief overview, especially for new Rotarians or individuals outside of the Rotary network that may be attending an event specific to World Polio Day or a fundraiser around the event. And the second PDF, How to Take Action World Polio Day, gives some tips and pointers for how to host an event, write an event, share an event, and then perhaps having a viewing party or finding some information on how you can engage with an event. They also include event ideas within that document, which I thought was pretty helpful. If you are a club that's maybe a new club and you don't know what World Polio Day is, they provide information about that. The PowerPoints, if you're giving a presentation like the one that I had hoped to give today before my computer died, has some graphic templates that you can access and use, and the same thing with the JPEG imagery that is within that document. So if you don't want to create your own content, but you're looking for some ready-made content, the kit is a wonderful place to visit. The other thing I thought was quite interesting was the press release and the social media messaging. So as we are all trying to increase our social media presence, having pre-written content that you can schedule out through your social media channels just makes it very easy to stay on message without having to put a lot of effort. So with that, I will turn it back over to time.
Stephen, I'll take it. Kyle, I'll jump in here.
Perfect.
The other things that are available for you here, and probably the most important thing that I would like for everybody to consider doing, is to use this register your event. So if you're planning an event for Polio for October 24th for the Polio Day, go ahead and schedule. Go ahead and click on this link. It'll take you to a page where you can fill out this form. Put in your district number, what kind of an event it is, and fundraiser. And what it'll do is it'll add this to the website here, and it'll put a push pin, and will actually make an impression on everybody around the world that Rotary is making a difference to end polio and making a push on this day with different events throughout the world. So you'll be able to click on any one of these push pins and find an event. Get back over to the US here. So this one is in my district here. Cambridge, Nebraska is hosting an event. But if we were to go over to the Chicagoland area, here's one in Manor Park. There's another one underneath this that you can look at. But these events are publicized events that are going to be taking place to give recognition to the End Polio Now efforts that we're making as Rotarians. So again, back over here on this, make sure you fill this out, submit this, and you'll get your event publicized right here on the End Polio Now website. One thing I do want to mention, this is a little bit of self-promotion, but Terry Ziegler down in 25B down in the Houston area publishes a weekly polio eradication update. I take that information every week from Terry, and I publish it on my own personal website or blog called rrotarymojo.com. So in here you can find not only the most current information that Terry has publicized, but you can go back for several years and look at things that have taken place on all of his different polio eradication updates. Additionally, in here, I've got links in here where you can click on some of the information that Bob McFarland was talking about with the Global Eradication Initiative. Takes you to this site. And in here, you can see some specifics about what's taking place with those wild polio cases, with the vaccine-derived polio, and everything that's going on in the world. So that is a very beneficial tool for you to go in one place to be able to see what's going on with the polio efforts. And there's a link there also to download that toolkit that Stephen was talking about. Kyle, I'll pass it back to you.
If I could comment just briefly, Scott, that's outstanding. I think Terry Ziegler's material is excellent, but it's wonderful to see what you've done to archive it and to make it available on a regular basis. That's terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. And I share this with everybody. It's available to anybody that wants to get in here each week when he publishes those stories. I actually take his website or take the information, put it on my website. So everything is on here every single week. So again, it's just under rrotarymojo.com or rotarymojo.com. And when you get here, click on the polio eradication update. Okay, Kyle, back to you.
Thanks, Scott. And so you see there's all sorts of information out there that you can utilize for your purposes. But I wanted to share very quickly here, because I know we're running a little bit long today, but I wanted to share the 5 easy tips for districts to engage clubs, or if you're a club leader, you could say clubs to engage members in terms of getting them thinking about World Polio Day. Number 1, very easily, work together. Don't do it just a public image team or just a Polio Plus team or a foundation team, but work together with public image, the Rotary Foundation, and Polio Plus teams coming together within your district, within your clubs, to create consistent, coordinated, and energetic messaging, because I think that's key. Also, appeal to the pride of Rotarians. You know, when you think about the fact that we're one of the founders of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative and have really been the glue that has held the whole thing together for 35 years, and to see that we've gone from 350,000 cases annually down to 2 so far this year, if you're a Rotarian with a pulse, you should be proud of that. So how can you appeal to the pride of your members to say, hey, we've done such a good job and we need to finish the job? Using current resources so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've showed some of those resources and on the endpolio.org site as well. There's at least 6 videos on that site, along with a link to Rotary's YouTube channel with another 25 polio videos that I played around with this weekend. So there's a lot out there, both in terms of just showing videos during the month of October for your clubs or your district, but also like Stephen showcased and Scott showed some of those resources as well. Something is better than nothing. You know, I think so many clubs get stuck going, well, if we can't do something up to certain expectations, criteria, whatever, let's just not do it. But doing something is better than doing nothing. And to encourage your clubs to do something, to put some event, even if it's just your weekly club meeting where you talk about polio for 5 minutes, put that on that website as an event. So, because it showcases to the world, as Scott said, the amount of people that care about this, and encouraging something, even if it's starting small, it can grow over time. And certainly share best practices. That's what we tried to do a little bit earlier with Melissa's segment, and what we'll continue to try to do. The more examples we can share of successful club events, the more ideas that clubs will have. And you know, Scott's resource there with his Our Rotary Mojo and some of the things that Terry Ziegler puts together and some of the different fundraising ideas and things like that that really come into play, I think are beneficial from that perspective. So the more we can borrow ideas from each other and promote what your districts are doing, what your clubs are doing, what your members are doing, the more other people can get ideas then and move forward from there. So those are just 5 quick tips I would say to engage your clubs or members with everything related to World Polio Day. And funny, you can really say those appeal to just about anything in the Rotary world as well. This isn't rocket science. We do the same things over and over, just switch the name and promote it effectively and engage your members. That's the key. Resources available. We showed you the toolkit. Scott identified the Global Polio Eradication Initiative website too, with all sorts of detailed information if you want to keep up on how many cases of polio or when the last environmental sample in Afghanistan was. Things like that. That data is on that GPEI website. And certainly your End Polio Now coordinators, your foundation coordinators, your public image coordinators, and all the teams at the zone level are here to help. And certainly if you're in your club, there are people at your district level willing and able to help as well. So